You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Glad you're here with us. We're coming on a bit late this morning, and that's mainly due to the weather. The weather and the way we handle the weather here in Greater Sudbury in terms of our road maintenance. And so that's the reason why the show is coming on later this morning. And as well, my computers need a little bit of time to load up. And so that's on top of that, I got here late due to the travel situation, the road quality, due to road maintenance after the weather that we receive on a regular basis here in Northern Ontario. And so I apologize for that. But I just jumped on because my software was just not loading for the radio. But now it loaded as soon as I got on for the live stream on Facebook and YouTube, it loaded. So now I'm going to have to, on the fly, get us on the radio without real people really, wondering too much what's going on. But anyways, we will be live on CKLU 96.7 FM. And in 1 second here we go. And let's just go live. So it's just going to jump on momentarily. So actually it's not. So here we go. I'm going to have to refresh. Due to the situation here on the fly, I knew something was going to happen, but I'm glad that you guys will be bearing with me here. I appreciate you very much. For those listening on the radio will wonder what's happening. It's just going to all of a sudden come on out of the blue. But yeah, so we'll be talking about the traffic situation, the weather situation. Now we are live on CKLU 96.7 FM after some technical issues this morning, but we are here. We're live, CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. Click on the Radio Player Canada app, stream us, download the Radio Player Canada app, and you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. YouTube.com/Sudbury News. You can find us there, video streaming. Facebook.com/Sudbury News. The same thing. You can find us there streaming. I'm going to get us up on the screen so I can see how many people we have so far joining us. And again, I apologize for being late. I will have a deep dive today into road maintenance in Greater Sudbury. Is it up to par? Like we've had now a couple snowfalls to see if whether or not we're happy with the way that we're going about our road maintenance, if we feel safe on our roads. And so I have my take on it, and also the speed traps, the photo radar to catch people speeding. I'll be talking a little bit about that. Apparently, a lot of people said it's really working well in Alberta, and we want to do the same thing. Well, they're rethinking it now in Alberta, and they're actually cutting the programs severely, and it's due to a backlash from people, and people have determined it's not indeed for our safety. It's to generate revenue. And so we will read a story on that a little bit later, so stay tuned for that. If you're interested in, Sudbury's just coming out with it now, mid-December. So in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a few areas in the city where you're just going to get a ticket mailed to you, and you'll be like, what happened here? I was going the speed limit. And for some reason, maybe there was something wrong with the technology or something, but you got a ticket. Or you were speeding. Maybe you were going 10 over and you get a ticket for going 10 over. We don't really know if you got to go the exact speed limit or 1 kilometer over the speed limit or 10 or 20, like when does it start giving you the ticket? I know Mike Perrot said that he'll be joining us on the show whenever we want to discuss this. I think I'm going to be doing a little bit more research into the legalities of it as well before I'm able to interview Mike on this situation, because I feel I need to be a little bit more prepared. But anyways, we'll have that coming up. We got some weather. We have an update on the Wolves. They won their 2 games on Friday and Sunday. That's pretty exciting, and some pretty exciting details on those 2 wins. I was at the 1 game on Friday against the London Knights, an exceptionally amazing game. So anyways, we'll have that. We'll have some after the weather, little sports update. We'll come back with all those joining us. Thanks again. I know that we're a bit late today. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow all of our social medias, but mainly comment. That way we'll get your comments read as much as I can on the show for those listening now that we are on the radio. And for those watching, I'll also do my best to get them up on the screen. And we'll go from there. We'll be back after this weather update. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. As usual, doesn't feel like -3 as usual. It's brought to you by sudburyweather.ca as usual, but it's -3 degrees Celsius. It feels like -8, and there's light snow. It wasn't light snow last night, I'll tell you that much. There's quite a bit of it. Today, cloudy with 60% chance of flurries again. High of -2. Wind chill near -11. And tonight, mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries. Low of -11. Wind chill -11 this evening. And then wind chill will be -19 overnight Tuesday. Mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries in the morning. Clearing late in the afternoon. High of -6. Wind chill -19 in the morning. -13 in the afternoon. Your 6-day forecast Tuesday. 40% chance of flurries with a high of -6, as we said. 60% chance of flurries on Wednesday, high of -3. 40% chance of flurries on Thursday, high of +3. And then mix of sun and cloud on Friday and Saturday, high of -2. -1, -2. Cloudy on Sunday, high of -2. And here's a look at your satellite. Just tons and tons of clouds all over the place. Very few clearing spots in there. Very few spots of clear skies. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. The show will be talking a little bit more about our weather conditions, so we'll leave that for the latter part of the show as well. So stay tuned. If weather is interesting to you and how it affects your driving, how it affects your life, and how your tax dollars go towards trying to make your driving conditions as safe as possible. And we'll see if we can discuss if that's indeed the case or not. We'll be back with a little bit of sports right after this. Sudbury Wolves in action Friday night and last night. London Knights were in town. First and only time they'll face them here. They will face them in London at some point. However, we haven't beat the London Knights, they said, in 12 years. We haven't beat them. Maybe beat them at home. I don't know exactly. But we had to do something about that. So that night we did, and we defeated them 9-2. It was an exceptional game. Quinton Musty only had 7 goals on the season coming into the game, and my brother and I, who were in the stands, were very surprised at the fact he only had 7 goals. Got a hat trick that night. Anyways, so statement game. They were wearing their Blueberry Bulldog shirts. A lot of exciting things to do with the Shoresy show during the night. Neo Kids received a financial donation. It was a great game. It was pretty much packed. It was as packed as I've ever seen it. And then they went on to play. So London Knights, a very strong team, always is. Dale Hunter and his team. But anyways, they went to Oshawa, which is one of the last place teams, and had a harder time with them. For some reason, we were winning 3-2 going into the third period. Anyways, tons of goals in the third period. It ended up being 7-5, and we almost lost it. So anyways, it was still an exciting game. Krawchuk was in net for both of those games. He got both wins. We got now 2 wins in a row after losing, I think it was 5 in a row before that. So Sudbury Wolves in action. Go on their website, check out all the details. They'll be in Peterborough tonight, which is a rare Monday game. So make sure to check that game out right here on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio or cklu.ca. It might also be televised. You have to check with Eastlink for that. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much, much more right after this. Okay, and here we are. We are back. As soon as I get this here, a lot of people joining us. Thanks for that as well. Denise is joining us on YouTube. Good morning from Espanola. Blessings to all. I'm wondering if you're on YouTube, wondering if Facebook was having a problem and we were late, and so you jumped on YouTube. I'm just guessing. That's just what that would be an educated guess. But good morning, Denise. Good morning, Murray's. Heart emoji. Judy, good morning, as well as Monique. Good morning. Snowflake, yes. Definitely snow out there. Drive safe, everyone. Conditions are not conducive to driving safe in many areas, that's for sure. Let's see here. I missed the name. Oh, Danica, you have a little twist on your name there. That's pretty cool. Love it. Good morning with a heart emoji. And good morning, everyone from Pakistan. Blessings to you as well. Good morning, everyone. We have a viewer from Pakistan joining us regularly, quite regularly. I hope everything is going well in Pakistan. Belinda, good morning. There are 2 ways of spreading your light. Be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Shine your light brightly. Beautiful. Beautiful, very positive. Thank you very much for that. And Vin, good morning to you. Denise, good morning, everyone. Stay safe on the roads. At least I made it without a speeding ticket. Yeah, today I did. All right, so yes, good morning, sweet sister. Here we are. Belinda says, let's see here. Yeah, that's fine. I did not see your message on Messenger, unfortunately. If you could resend it, or if you send it during the show, I wouldn't get it until after the show. But yeah, you can send me a message on Messenger or email at sudburynews@gmail.com. Linda says, since amalgamation, all I've seen are cutbacks on the services and higher taxes that do not benefit the people in Greater City of Sudbury. Many people would agree with you on that. Jerome, good, beautiful, snowy morning, everyone. Jerome, good morning to you too. And yes, it is beautiful too at the same time. Just if you're not driving in it, makes it treacherous. Leandre, liberals cannot be party for women when you cannot describe what a woman is. Okay. Yes. I've heard that many times as well. Yes. Again, you can message me anytime on Messenger, and I will respond to you. A righteous government puts the needs of the people above all else. These are our tax dollars. Clean city, good services, a better infrastructure, and helping the downtown. I feel I feel the majority of people, if not all people, would agree with your sentiments 100%. Jerome, definition of a woman, not a man, regardless of what you cut off. Okay, well, thanks for that. I like your definition of even if you just left it at definition of a woman, not a man. That was kind of cool, even in of itself. However, to each their own, with their own definition. I guess today your truth is whatever you believe, which is interesting. Okay, again, so when our government spends money like it's worth nothing, it becomes nothing for sure. And it does definitely seem like that's the case going on these days. So there you go. So what's happening around Greater Sudbury? What are the news headlines of the day? We ask. Well, let's check in. We shall see. It's going to be an interesting morning. It's going to be an interesting conversation because it's an interesting topic. Weather, driving, and money. Weather, driving, and money are the themes of the day, and everything revolves around those three themes. Okay. So speaking of money, financial, CBC reporting everyone is in need of help. Northern Ontario food banks say their numbers are higher than ever. That flying in the face of Chrystia Freeland's fall economic report saying everything is great. So I don't know what the Sudbury Food Bank is talking about. If they've talked to Chrystia Freeland yet, maybe they should talk to her and they'll see that everything is wonderful. Okay. I'm not sure what that message means, but all right. So let's see. Everyone is in need of help. Northern Ontario food banks say they are busier than ever. Food banks in northern eastern Ontario say they're feeding more people than ever before, and more of them are first-time users. So what does that tell us? Now, I heard the discussion on the way in on CBC because the vehicle I was in does not have satellite radio, and I'm listening to local radio, and I'd prefer to listen to CBC, even though sometimes it's very frustrating here and there to not get the whole story or hear very, very extreme slants on the stories I am hearing. My tax-paying dollars are going to. But I'm sure it is catering to a certain segment of the population, which are very happy, and their tax dollars are paying for it as well. So I guess some people have it better than others, but it is what it is. Anyway, so they were talking about this on the ride in, and they say it's an indicator. It's like a canary in a coal mine kind of thing of the economy of the country. If they're getting a lot of first-time users and they're seeing more people than ever using food banks, it's telling you something about the economy, the state of the economy, regardless of what the Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister says about how we're doing. Because what you say and what's actually happening could be two different things. And it seems like, although I could be wrong, it seems like if we talked about to the executive director of the Sudbury Food Bank, what his feelings were on it, it seems like what's being said and what's being seen are two different things. We are experiencing unprecedented strains on our economy, and people are feeling it very much so. Many, many financial related crises going on in this country and in the city. What will happen? So I think one of the most important things to make sure at this point in time is to make sure that we have bike lanes that are cleared from the snow in the winter. I think that's probably one of our number one priorities that we should look at, right? Isn't that what you're thinking? I'm sure you must have been thinking that. Sudbury, Ontario cyclist petitions the city to clear bike lanes in the winter. Because what's your preferred way of transportation in the winter? Obviously, it's a bike, right? Like who else Like, who would want to take anything else in the winter than a bike to get around 30 below temperatures in Greater Sudbury in the winter, right? A Sudbury, Ontario cyclist is petitioning the city to maintain its network of bike lanes in the winter, something the city has never done before. That's just an interesting one. I'll just leave it at that. The city official said, well, they're not all networked together yet, so we'll wait till they're all connected, and then we'll look at it. We'll make a proposal maybe, and we'll go to city council, and the councilors will vote on it, whether we should maintain bike lanes in the winter. Right? Interesting anyways. I'm sure you can sense my particular take on it. So, also, good morning. Yes, good morning, Dennis from London. Yes, and the Wolves beat London on Friday, as you heard when they visited here. And I do know you root for Sudbury, being from Sudbury, even though you live in London. Okay, many comments coming up here. I'm just putting them up for now as we're discussing here. Yeah, but I think you make a good point here too, Belinda. You say pandering to the few and disregarding the many. It's the foundation that the Liberal government stands on. And I agree. It seems like, yeah, all of the few, which speak really loud, even louder than the many, somehow, or at least they get the attention of the government. At least we see, like you were saying, maybe Liberal government, just maybe government in general as well. And pandering is an interesting word too. Pandering to the few and disregarding the many seems to be what I hear on CBC radio as well. Like, all the stories are about just obscure stories about things that only happen to one person or maybe 10 people out of a million, but they seem to focus on that. And most of the stories are built around the very few, when there's lots of things that relate to the many out there, to the masses. They could be talking about some of those things too, considering that the masses are paying their bills. You know what I mean? You would think that would be the case, but no, I think it's because there's an ideology there of, that they were taught in university and they agree with, that they need to be radical and change our system through their messages they're delivering through government sponsored media. So, yeah. So they were talking about the weather and their roads when they were on just this morning. Good morning, Victoria. Have a wonderful day as well. So they were talking about the weather and them driving into work. What did you see? Well, the side roads were a little, slick. But, the main roads were totally fine. Yeah, main roads were great. And that was just a different way of saying the side roads were crap. They were full of ice. Many accidents could have taken place. And when you say side roads, there's still main roads in Sudbury. Like, there's still a lot of main roads. When we talk about the ultra main roads, like the highways and main intersections, sure, but people have to get off those secondary main roads to get to those main roads. Very dangerous. Black ice everywhere. So I'm coming down a hill on one of these secondary main roads, and there's a stop sign on the bottom of the hill, and just going 20 miles an hour on the hill and putting on the brakes, sliding right through the stop sign. And the oncoming traffic doesn't have a stop sign. It's not like a four-way stop where someone would be stopped. I would have got T-boned, right? Maybe the city could have thought of putting some, sand. Yeah, maybe they could have put some sand after one plow went by. So the single plow, so 2 lanes weren't plowed yet. The snow, according to my app, anyways, I was sleeping, said it stopped at 12 midnight. So they had, before I was on the roads, like 5-6 hours to plow and sand. I thought that would be enough time. No plows were out during the snowstorm, which I was driving in, which is usual these days, right? And dangerous. So I thought the city was concerned about safety, and that's why we're putting in these photo radar traps, because we're worried about safety of our citizens here, right? So if we're worried about safety. I thought maybe they just put a little bit of sand, at least at a stop sign that has major black ice on, even if they don't want to put sand everywhere. Save on sand, put it where people are going to brake. Maybe. Sand. There's sand everywhere. Sand shouldn't even cost anything. Really. Just put sand down. Don't even need the salt, which is, I guess, environmentally dangerous or something. Keeping people safe is environmentally dangerous. So put some sand. Put it at the stop signs. Just a suggestion. So, and I'm not the only one. So there's a group here. This is coming from Sudbury.com. The other stories were coming from Sudbury.news, from various news outlets across the city. Severe issues with Northern Highway safety, trucker group says. Travis McDougall, co-founder of Truckers for Safer Highways, slammed the province today, saying severe issues continue to affect Northern Highway safety. So a quote from him says, without clear and immediate action from the Ministry of Transportation, more lives will, capital WILL, be needlessly lost on our highways. He said in a morning news conference, in Ontario, the mandated training time of 103.5 hours is woefully inadequate, with too little emphasis on practical experience. Our proposal is straightforward. Trainees should spend 80% of their training. So this is coming from people being trained on highways, right? So which we see a lot of times. I know I have a friend in the transport training industry says, I think she said 70% of the people that are driving on our transports on our roads didn't go through sufficient training. This particular person is talking about the ones who did go through the training and they still don't have sufficient training. So this is the 30% that go through it. She says, and she's in a place of knowing what the heck she's talking about, because she trains and sets up schools in order to deliver these things. And says 70% of people that are driving on our roads in these big rigs on our northern roads are, just got their license. Maybe they had a day where they got in and they were shown where everything works in the truck and they were given their certification, and then they're off to the races. Right? So now they're driving on northern roads, haven't really been trained, and the roads aren't even being maintained as far as I see as I'm driving on them. I'm just going to go from my firsthand experience, seeing the conditions of them. And now you have a recipe for disaster. So this is what's going on in the trucking industry. And the least we can do is make sure the roads are maintained. So, Mike, thanks for joining us. I will look into the sand to stop sign concern you mentioned. I appreciate that for sure. Again, if we want to save money, we don't want to put sand down. Just put it on at where people are going to be braking at least. At least that's a safety concern, right? If we're concerned about safety. But I really appreciate that. So I bike the sidewalk if the road, I bike on the sidewalk or the road if it's clear. Levac, 3 main arteries plowed. The rest of the streets are untouched. Most not have hit the 8 centimeters required. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so there you go. So really appreciate your comments, and thanks, Mike, for looking into that. We really appreciate it. I know safety is a concern, not only for yourself and what you do, but also liability reasons for the city. I mean, the safer that we are and the things that we do to be as safe as we can be will save us money in the long run and save lives. I actually don't think that putting speed traps on main roads will save lives. I don't think there's any data indicating that if we put radar between the credit union in Garson until the bypass in Garson going the Maley Drive extension, if we put photo radar there, that's going to save any lives. I don't think we have an epidemic of accidents and people losing their lives on that stretch of road. It could just be me. Maybe I'm just not informed of the data. Maybe when you come on, you can give us the data that shows how many lives have been lost, how many accidents have been caused on that stretch of roads where there is going to be a new camera installed. And then we'll know it's for safety and not for financial purposes, right? Which you did make the argument it's not for financial purposes. It's going to be costing us a lot of money in order to install these speed trap things. But we're not going to be making exorbitant amounts of money from it. But Alberta, just to let everyone know, has been doing this. And a lot of people say, look, they do it in Alberta. We should do it here. So they're having second thoughts now about doing it. Headline says, Alberta bans photo radar in quote unquote fishing holes. That's what they've been kind of the slang term of them, that unfairly target drivers. Okay, so they've been using them in different areas, and then they've expanded because it's a good revenue generator, right? So they expand where they've been putting them, which I feel the city would do. They're just starting it, and they're then going to expand. If you let it start, and they're going to say, look, it's working over here, it's working over here. Let's just expand this thing. We can make more revenue from it. But I'd like to stop it even before it starts myself, because I feel pretty confident that it's that there's not a safety concern. It's the reason why they're out there, and we'll get to that. So if you're interested in my take on why I don't think it's a safety concern and what we should do if we are going to use them for safety, where we can tweak the program. Okay, drivers unfairly targeted by photo radar traffic violation traps will be relieved to know. And this was sent to me by Dawn, by the way. And Dawn, you've sent me quite a few articles, which I have been reading. Some of them I just have to wait until we have enough information. I know a lot on the Israeli-Gaza situation, which I really appreciate. A lot on the climate stuff, which we will get to. I'm hoping to dedicate Fridays from now on to just climate-related, eco-related things, trying to set records straight and show evidences rather than just radical, ideas of, change when we don't have the proper science to back it up. Anyway, so I appreciate this. So drivers unfairly targeted by photo radar traffic violation traps will be relieved to know that the Alberta government announced a ban on radar fishing holes, used primarily as a source of generating revenue rather than making the roads safer. So, okay. So here's my, this was my reservation from the beginning. Is it a revenue generator? And many people in the city, like, we got the most comments out of anything we've ever had from this article that we shared. Or not even an article. Obviously, we can't share articles anymore because of the federal government's starting the trail of being banned from sharing news, conveniently enough. So we can't share, but I just shared the information about the new photo radar that's coming out, and it got the most comments out of anything we've ever shared on our Facebook ever. So I know people are passionate about it, and many people said they thought it was for revenue for the city. So this isn't just my take on it or a few people. There were a few people, however, who said, I'm glad the city is doing this. But they were the minority. Again, I think Belinda's suggestion of pandering to the few and disregarding the many, again, that's the same kind of philosophy, right? A few people complaining, and then we pander to them. Well, because it can create lots of revenue. Maybe not. But in Alberta, it was used primarily as a source of generating revenue rather than making roads safer, according to this article. An announcement on Thursday, Alberta revealed a plan to implement significant changes to the rules governing the use of photo radars, which I would hope we would just instead of even starting this off, just start it right. Like go from Alberta, what they're learning, start it off right instead of making the same mistakes they did. In response to the widespread public frustration, and this is what you're going to get. You're going to get widespread public frustration from this. Mark my words. This isn't going to be everybody singing Kumbaya. Oh, everyone can go 40 kilometers an hour now on a large stretch of road, or they're going to get a ticket and everyone's going to be happy about that. In response to widespread public frustration over the use of photo radar for revenue generation rather than traffic safety, the provincial government proposed a ban on photo radar operations on the ring roads in Calgary and Edmonton. This decision based on data collected across the province is aimed at addressing concerns raised by residents who have long criticized the use of photo radar as little more than a money-making tool for local governments. Alberta has the highest usage of photo radar in Canada, and that's why we've talked about Alberta when we were talking about instituting this in Greater Sudbury. And these changes will finally eliminate the cash cow that affects so many Albertans. Photo radar must only be used to improve traffic safety. Bingo. So this is what I also agree with. So I don't say that we should abolish it altogether. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying show me the proof. If you're saying it's for safety, show me the data of how unsafe the roads we've selected as a city are and why we've chosen the avenues we have to put the photo radar in to combat the unsafe environment that was there and how we believe this new instituting this photo radar technology is going to make these stretches of road safer. That is the argument. Was it unsafe to begin with? If so, what's the data? And if these cameras are going to make a difference, and so what's the percentage of the difference it's going to make to combat the unsafe, how unsafe it was to begin with, right? So Alberta has the highest usage of photo radar in Canada, and these changes will finally eliminate the cash cow that affects so many Albertans. Photo radar must only be used to improve traffic safety. And with these changes, municipalities will no longer be able to issue thousands of speeding tickets simply to generate revenue, said the Minister of Transportation and Economic Corridors, Devin Dreeshen, in a statement. This comes on top of the December 1st, 2019 pause on new photo radar equipment and locations. So they've already, as of 2019, been going, maybe we've got to put a pause on this stuff, on just going, yeah, how about this place? How about that place? How about this place? And increasing the photo radar. So this is a province who's already gone down that road. Can we learn from them? Or are we learning, wow, there's quite a bit of money there, and that's what we've learned? Or are we learning the other aspect of it? Or are we just going to go through the same thing and get all the people of Greater Sudbury just as frustrated and upset? Could cost you your council seat as well, I would presume, if you have another counselor who's going to come out at the next election and say, my platform is to get rid of photo radar and make our roads maintenance safer by putting sand at four-way stops, by plowing when it's dangerous and making them as safe as possible, and making sure our roads actually are built properly from the beginning so that they don't have millions of potholes and it costs taxpayers millions of dollars to go around filling the potholes after and then repaving the roads and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So I would just say that. So I think we can actually think in terms of common sense, even on a municipal level, and start doing things for the right reasons and getting data to back up our decisions. So it comes after the pause of 2019, December 1st, to, again, put a stop to any new photo radar equipment and locations. Following this, a comprehensive review of the system was conducted, leading to the upcoming ban on ring roads, a move intended to curb what many refer to as a fishing hole, locations meant to trap unsuspecting drivers. The new rules also include an extension of the cap on any new photo radar equipment programs until December 1st, 2024, so at least a year. This extended period will facilitate a year-long consultation with municipalities across the province. Several councillors are on board with the provincial plan, including City of Calgary Ward 10 councillor Andre Chabot. He says, I'm very pleased to see this change to allow our police force to redeploy photo radar from Stony Trail into high-risk areas. So again, high-risk areas, right? So I'm not talking about getting rid of photo radar altogether. The idea, just again, if we can make the argument of safety, not money, the money will come anyways, right? As we know. So if you put them in places where we'd absolutely need, like school zones, for instance. So we're just, all the city has done was decreased the speed limit in school zones from 40 to 30, which is, I don't know, arguable why that was even needed. If you just enforce the 40 speed limit, all you got to do is get in your car and drive 40 and go, is this safe? Is this a safe? Could I stop if a child was running out onto the road in due time? And the answer to me is yes, at 40. But we went and reduced it to 30, not sure why, and didn't put any photo or ideas, or didn't even think of putting photo radar at these locations. Keep it at 40 and put photo radar. Anyone going over 40, even 1 kilometer, now you can say even 1 kilometer over 40 will get a ticket, because it's for safety. We want to keep the children safe. So there's the argument, right? And I don't even think you can show data that there's been all that. I know there. Look, again, you can't show data that there's been a lot of unsafe activity and a lot of fatalities and a lot of accidents in school zones. I know you can't get that data, but I think everyone would at least be on board with the idea of keeping those safe and stopping any future things from happening in school zones, right? So that's what this counselor is saying. He's pleased that they to see the change. So instead of just going for, money, places where they're just going to get money, to go into high risk areas in our community, such as school zones, construction zones, playground zones. So that's where this particular counselor is saying that's where these photo radars need to be. Not in high traffic areas where there's straight stretches of high traffic areas where there's probably no data of, if you went 120 on these stretches of road, there still wouldn't be any more increase of accidents or injury or any of these things, right? So I think we just need to start thinking more common sense. So during the consultation period, Edmonton and Calgary will have the option to reassign the photo radar units previously used on the ring road. So they're just leaving it open. They're going to see how much backlash they're getting from people. And yeah. So again, if the few are louder, they can get their way. If the many do nothing, then you're making changes for the few while you're disregarding the many. Okay. So who's this new person we have here? So here's a person who agrees with putting photo radar everywhere. So that's good. So this is one of the few. So that's awesome. So there are people who agree with doing that. And there's people who don't. And I guess if the city goes ahead and installs them and institutes them, we will then see how many people are in agreement with it or not. And we'll just, I guess, use Sudbury as an experiment when we can already look at other areas of the country that are using them and see what's happening there and make a wiser decision. But anyways, more to come. Mike, look forward to having you on the show. Just got to do a little bit more research on my end, and that way I can be as informed as possible to ask you as good a questions as I possibly can ask on this. I know many people have questions about the photo radar as it's being instituted, whether it is for safety purposes or a monetary generating system for the city. So we'll be talking about that when we have you on. So I really appreciate that. Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's a great opportunity to facilitate a conversation each and every weekday morning with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, watching. We'll be with you again, God willing, same time, same place tomorrow, 7:30. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And have a great day, everyone. God bless.
This is Sudbury News